In the premier matchup between Alabama and LSU, there's a lot to dissect with this game. Both teams have played well recently, both have great QBs, and both have some of the best players on defense in all of college football. Hello everyone, and welcome to NoHuddle, a YouTube channel by college football fans for college football fans. In this video, we break down perhaps one of the biggest games of the year in the sport, Alabama versus LSU. The way this video will work apart from our other game previews is we'll cover one team, the good, bad, and keys to win before moving on to the other team. With that in mind, let's dive right into it with the home team, Alabama. Since the loss against Texas in week 2 of the season, Alabama has played significantly better. A big factor in that is Jalen Milroe. The sophomore QB has an overall stat line of 1,617 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. But there are 2 games that we believe highlight what Milroe does for the Alabama offense. The 40-17 win against Mississippi State, where he threw for only 164 yards on 10 for 12, but he ran the ball 11 times for 69 yards and 2 scores. The other game in the following week against Texas A&M, when he threw for 321 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception on 21 for 33 passing. Simply put, he's a dual threat, athletic QB. If Bama wants to keep a banged up Tigers defense more on their toes, they'll use Milroe's arms and legs to wear down LSU, keeping the LSU secondary guessing and possibly taking Harold Perkins Jr. away from the play or out of the equation will go a long way for the Crimson Tide. There are 2 keys we believe Alabama needs to execute for a victory in Tuscaloosa. The first being protecting Jalen Milroe. There's no doubt he's an athlete on the ground. Through the air, no doubt he can do it, but the Alabama O-line allows Milroe to be sacked 16% of the time. In the SEC, Bama is one of the worst at protecting the QB, and it's equated to Milroe being sacked 30 times so far this season. Alabama can play well on offense, but it's crucial that they keep their QB protected and comfortable in the pocket if they want to slay the Tigers at home. Also, Alabama needs to rely on their running game. Coming into the season, the Crimson Tide had perhaps the best running back room in the country. Led by seniors Jace McClellan and Roydell Williams, the Crimson Tide offense runs the ball around 60% of the time and does it with great success, as evidenced by the 5 touchdowns and over 900 yards between their senior backs. This bodes well for the Tide because the LSU defense gives up the 3rd most rushing yards per game in the conference. If Alabama can exploit this and expose a weakened Tigers secondary, then the game should easily fall in their hands. Despite the 2 losses on the season, LSU find themselves in contention for college football playoffs. This game surely puts the spotlight on them, and if they respond with a W in Bryant-Denny Stadium, then the Tigers surely made their case for the postseason. Jayden Daniels has been the man for LSU and is playing at a Heisman level this year. With 2,753 yards so far this season, 25 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions, he's more than capable of leading his team to a victory in Tuscaloosa. The LSU offense has weapons, and they can spread the Alabama secondary out and possibly wear them down. Wide receiver duo Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. can tear the Bama secondary up. Not to mention, tight end Mason Taylor provides a 3rd solid option for Daniels. Point being, the number of weapons at LSU's disposal on offense can drive any defense crazy, and the Crimson Tide can be susceptible to them as well. What we believe can make this game for LSU is limiting Milroe and eliminating his dual threat ability. Sounds like a cop-out to stop the QB, but let us explain. In our section on Alabama, we said they allow sacks 16% of the time. If LSU can win the fight up front, then the banged up secondary won't be as big a worry. The less chances the LSU defense gives Milroe to be comfortable, the better for their secondary's sake. The key may be Perkins Jr. He's no doubt one of the most talented defensive players in the country, and he can impact this game surely. How LSU decides to utilize him, or even using him as a spy sometimes for Milroe, would not be the worst idea. But a big key is taking away the dual threat of Jalen Milroe and winning the battle up front on the line. Odds. This game opens with a high total of 59.5 points, with the over-under being about the same odds for each outcome. But what Vegas and other books are sure about is who they all pick to win, as Alabama comes in at 3.5-point favorites. The last time LSU won in Tuscaloosa was in 2019 with Joe Burrow. Before that, fans must go back to 2011 when the Tigers beat the Crimson Tide in Tuscaloosa 9-6 in OT. Alabama lost against Texas and Bryant-Denny, but for the most part, the Crimson Tide are a sensational team at home. There's no doubt this will be a tough game, and for both teams, this game will mean a lot beyond playoff seeding and implications. wins. For the Tigers, this is a huge prove-it game. 2 losses on the season, but if they hand Bama its second loss, then LSU's playoff hopes are much brighter. This game for Alabama is a huge prove-it as well. 1 loss early to Texas, but other than that, the Crimson Tide have rolled well since. However, teams with a lot of weapons like LSU have given Alabama problems before. If Bama can do that and force LSU to keep pace, then the favor is in Alabama. Overall, we believe the banged-up secondary of LSU will struggle against Alabama, and the Tide will win this close game. The running back room for Alabama does incredibly well, but where the red and white separate themselves is using Milroe and his arm for a deep ball that not only keeps teams on the field and wears them down, but allows for an effective one too. This is why we're taking Alabama in this game and the margin of victory of 3.5 points. Let us know in the comments below your game predictions and who you're most excited to see in this game. Before you go, if you find yourself coming back to the channel, be sure to subscribe if you like college football. If you like the video, be sure to show us with a thumbs up. And as always, stay tuned to No Huddle for more college football content.